Hey guys, it's Jason at Hard Money Bankers and REI360.net with another great expert interview for you. In a second, I'm going to introduce you to Terry Royce from Find, Fund, and FlipDeals.com. As you all know, real estate investing has a lot of different strategies, right? There's a lot of ways to make money. You can wholesale, you can flip, rentals, lease options, lending. You know it. There's a lot of different opportunities. We always feel that it's really important to be focused on one key strategy that you're making the majority of your money on, but also to be creative so you can capitalize on a lot of different opportunities as they come in and figure out a way to, make money on those. So the reason I wanted to bring Terry on the show today is, he's got a very impressive wholesaling and other real estate investing businesses focused in the Baltimore, Maryland area where we actually both are located. But actually what impresses me the most about Terry is the way that he actually works with fellow real estate investors in order to help them. So although he's known for wholesaling and he really, really understands that, he also knows how to work with individual investors, touch them, create value with them individually, because obviously he knows, and as we all know, if you give some time for somebody and you help another real estate investor, there's a better chance that you actually can turn them into a client of yours, right? So he helps a real estate investor, and then all of a sudden they turn into maybe a buyer of one of his deals. He can help wholesale a deal to them, maybe turn it into a partnership. You never really know where it goes, but it's one thing that I think a lot of real estate investors out there are lacking. They think that every single person's a competitor, and really real estate investors in general are allies, because real estate investors, they have different they have a different approach to their business. One deal to you may be crappy to somebody else, and one crappy deal to you may be a great deal to somebody else. So you never know where it's going to turn out. So first off, welcome, Terry. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Jason. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. So if we can just start off, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate?
Sure. Basically, I got started when the market was at its peak. The first thing I did was I actually bought a house with a buddy of mine from another wholesaler here in the local market, and we did all the work ourselves. We rehabbed it, and we actually bought it and moved into it. Our plan was just to make the sweat equity. And shortly after that, I'd been reading a lot about real estate investing, and I was always looking at the traditional models. I was reading like Bigger Pockets and a bunch of other websites. And there was a house that was actually 3 doors down from my girlfriend's house at the time in Federal Hill. And I've been reading a lot about wholesaling, and I was like, well, let me go meet these people and, just practice making an offer was really my goal. And it was literally the first offer I'd ever made to a seller. And they wanted $200,000 for the house. I offered them $150,000. They told me to basically kick rocks. And, I was like, okay, great, I got practice. And then long story short, they called me back 30 days later. I'll never forget it. I was like standing in the grocery store and they were like, are you still interested? I was like, yeah. I threw my basket down and went and met them and got the house under contract for what I wanted at the 150. It was on the 1600 block of Charles Street in Federal Hill. Great neighborhood, great location. And turned around and had no idea what I was doing. I reached out to another wholesaler and they helped me find a buyer for it. And I think we grossed like $18,000 on that first deal. Yeah, and ever since then I was hooked.
Yeah, you get hooked. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. What year? So that was like 07, 08?
08.
08. So okay, so almost 10 years ago, like towards right at the peak, and you're still able to. That just shows, even if at the top of the market, you're still able to make money with opportunities. So that was the first deal, or the first deal was the one you bought for yourself that you rehabbed and then moved in?
That was the first one we were in. We had just started rehabbing it. We were probably like 3 weeks in when I went and found this deal. And it just, I wish they all came that easy, because it was like after that I was like, oh my God, I was hooked. Like I feel like if I had a lot of bad things happen, I probably would have, that's why a lot of people quit. But that first one was so easy and I saw that it worked. And after that I was like, I was in it. Yeah,
that's actually funny. That's very similar to our first one that we did, where we made $30,000 and we split it up by 3 people. But still, it was $10,000 in our pocket. It was amazing, and it was like, why doesn't everybody do this? And then all of a sudden, we started doing a few rehabs, and then that money got flushed right down the drain, plus some. But it was the hope of like, wow, like this does work. So no, that's good to know. So what do you currently have with your operation? So fast forward, 8-10 years later. You were hooked. You kind of committed. Seemed like you committed to it, doing it on a regular basis. where are you? Where are you now? Like, what is your focus? What does your operation and your team look like?
Sure. Well, basically, I continued to wholesale. The market crashed, and our original plan was to move into a house. So we did do that, and then held on to it for about 6 years. We sold it 2 years ago. And since then, I've been wholesaling probably I'd say about 30 to 40 properties a year had been kind of my average for a few years. And then I always want to get into rehabbing. And I did that. I started doing some rehabs. I did one on my own, and it kind of sucked all of my time out of doing the wholesaling and the lead generation. And I realized that I was kind of that one-man show. And while I made great money on the rehab, I realized that I needed to focus what I was good on, which is analyzing deals. I like talking to buyers, sellers. It depends on the seller. They're a little draining. But so I started one of my buyers actually, who I'd sold some deals to. He was like, "Hey, why don't you like doing this part, and I like doing the rehabbing. I have a construction crew, and we've kind of partnered up. We still do some things on the side, or that aren't together, but it's great because it allows me to go out and focus on finding the deals or selling them. But when we want to rehab one, he deals with pretty much the whole thing from start to finish, and I'll have input if I want, but I really don't need to. I might do some layout stuff or some design stuff, but I don't have to manage the subs and manage all the little intricacies that I really hated about rehabbing. And so we've been doing that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and it's worked out really well. It's allowed us to get aggressive with our buying on the wholesale side, a lot of deals I wouldn't normally have done, because he's able to take those deals on if we decide either not to sell them to another investor or to sell them. And so our goal this year was to do 100 deals. I think we're going to fall a little short of that, but needless to say, we've done, I'm thinking we'll be on track to do about 70 or 80, a combination of, wholesales, rehabs, and so forth. So really excited about that.
Yeah, that's certainly a lot of deals, and rehabbing is hard, and rehabbing is hard in general. And don't get me wrong, I think that real estate investing in general, the barrier of entry is a lot easier than a lot of other businesses. There's a lot more money to be made. There's a lot of education and people that are willing to help people that want to get into real estate. But firsthand, we have a similar mindset and model related to flipping. Is I'm not really into construction. I don't know much about it. I don't really want to spend the time on it because it does take a lot of work. We like the lending side, and that's what we're focused on. And when we do, we've done quite a few rehabs over the years as well. But it's only work for us when we have the right partner in place that we can trust to just handle it, because not going to be micromanaging contractors. It's not something I'm good at.
Yeah.
It's not something I want to do. So, but some people do, and some people are good at it, and some people love the construction. They love the finished product. They take the pride of ownership of it. So, kudos obviously to them. So yeah, that's a pretty. I like that setup, and I think probably the takeaway of the way you have it is you stick to what you like doing and what's the best for you. And your partner sticks to what they like the best instead of trying to do everything like the majority of these people do. And the other thing is, it's also kind of impressive to note the wholesaling operation, because wholesaling, don't get me wrong, I believe that anyone can wholesale a deal or two, right? You can get a deal, they're able to buy it at a good enough margin in order to profit off it. But doing a lot of deals and wholesaling on scale, it's tough, right? You're spending the majority of your time, I'm assuming, on marketing, or you're deal locating, maybe not marketing, but finding deals, obviously. And a lot of these, and you obviously have to find the deal that's not only a good deal, but a good enough deal that you can actually squeeze your way to make some money on the deal as well, and not just, and things like that. So that's always good. And the thing is, I've had some, friends, partners, other real estate investors that are always like, well, I don't understand why people wholesale, because if the deal's that good, and let's say they can make $10,000 from wholesaling, that means they can make the money on the wholesaling plus the money on the flipping, so they can kind of double up. And I'm like, I get that in theory, but if you're only doing a few deals at a time, you can do that. But at 40 deals at a time, doing 40 flips would be freaking awful.
Yeah, sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. So okay. So besides that, who else do you have kind of in your operation? Just because that's a lot of deals. I can't imagine it's just like a one-man operation.
No, I mean we have me and my partner, and like I said, he handles the construction, and we overlap with some stuff like deal analyzing. His wife and then my wife are pretty much the main four of us, and then we have some guys in the field. We have three guys right now that help us out with either looking at properties or maybe just running other stuff. My partner owns a construction contracting company. He's a licensed contractor. So that's that's his business there, but he's a rehabber. Like, he's not like a retail contractor. He does some stuff for some friends and whatnot, but like, he's a flipper with the contracting license. And then we have I think about 4 VAs that do different things for us: data entry, graphic stuff, website stuff, and we actually need some more. I mean, VAs I've been a big proponent of VAs since I think Odesk came out. I've been using them since '08, and I can't say enough about them. They do a lot of very helpful. So it's basically probably about 10 of us if you add everybody in, the VAs and so forth. 10, 11 of us that are running around, and we're trying to hire an admin as well to help us, just the paperwork and just the little nitty gritty stuff. Again, kind of goes back to what I was saying, where I partnered with or started partnering more with the guy I'm with now. It's just like trying to get as much off my plate as possible so I can focus on the highest income producing activities, and business development, really.
So what do you think like the next step would be, kind of in the business? Like, you're doing a lot of deals to begin with, right? So like the next step might not necessarily be like, hey, we need to do more and more deals, because more deals doesn't mean your bottom line, you're making more money, obviously. But in your mind, kind of like, what's the next step of growth, taking like the company to the next level?
That's a good question. I mean, sometimes I lack at some of those big vision things. I just, kind of get caught up in the hustle and just seeing the growth, whether from either the number of deals closed or the income. But I think, maybe we've been doing a lot in the counties, Baltimore County primarily. We've got a few deals in Howard County, and done some in Anne Arundel. Trying to do more in those counties. I mean, it's really competitive down there, and the guys that have the local market knowledge, they're going to get the deals from you. They're going to know where they're at, the best neighborhoods. So I think trying to just expand locally. I hear a lot of wholesalers, they want to do virtual wholesaling and they want to be in other cities, and I think that's a great business model. I'm just very hands-on, and I think we're doing a great job locally. So I want to expand that and just become more of the local go-to guy for deals. I mean, there's a lot of business here in the Baltimore area, and DC's right there. So I just want to kind of expand. That's like my short-term goal, I guess. I don't have a long-term answer for you.
You think there's enough deal flow for that? I mean, I'm guessing, and I actually do not know this answer, but I'm guessing that you probably do a bunch of different things in order to find deals, because it's a lot of deals, right? It's not like it's not like you can hop on MLS and scrape all those things and be able to do that many with that many profits and have a good, and also make sure that end buyer is profitable so they buy another deal for you in the future. So I'm guessing you're probably buying from a bunch of different places. But I guess like if there's more deal flow, you probably have the buyers to buy them. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I mean, the market, obviously the market's good right now. And I think there's a lot of different types of buyers out there. That a lot of wholesalers don't focus on. A lot of wholesalers get stuck in the traditional model, which is obviously, proven the 65% model. But there's a lot of buyers who don't abide by that model, I find. And we tend to get those deals that other people miss, where people might just be buying in a neighborhood where the comps, let's say Howard County, for example, the comps might be, in the 180 range, but there's still people buying at the 120 mark for rentals, or just because for other things. It might just be, the demographics in that neighborhood, people buy cash. I find that a lot too. So just finding trends in other neighborhoods. I think there's tons of deals and everybody gets caught up on deal flow, and that's an easy thing to blame. But I mean, let's say, for example, how many deals did your company fund last year or in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, last year we funded 250 loans.
So that's 250 investor loans, and I think I sold maybe 1 or 2 deals to guys that use your company. So to me, it's like, okay, well, there's 248 deals that I didn't get. Yeah. And then all the other wholesalers out there that are getting deals. I mean, there's thousands of deals. So it's either I find deals that other people miss or take market share, which, I mean, I can't take all the deals. That's obvious. But I think that there's ways that I can get deals, and there's deals I'm missing out on.
Yeah, so if I would guess between Baltimore and the D.C. area, there's probably a few thousand deals a year. We've always, as we've grown, sometimes can't imagine. I've always been like, I wonder how many deals like this are there really out there, right? And I mean, when we started out in 07, we were doing 2 or 3 deals a month, and then it went to 5 deals a month, and we get up to 20, 25 deals a month. And as we grow as well, and you probably see, it's just like you're just amazed that there's just that many opportunities and there's that many deals out there. So I mean, I agree, like with what you're saying. You missed out on that many. You can't do every deal, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, this is a relationship game, and you probably see this more than most other real estate investors because you do a lot of wholesaling, and you probably have a lot of repeat people as well. But a lot of rehabbers, they don't really look at it that way because they're like, the seller's not going to have another property. I'm not going to need them for anything down the road. But our whole position, and probably very similar to you, is, hey, I'm going to take care of, like on your end, I'm going to take care of my buyer, because if they don't make money on the deal, I'm not getting another deal. I'm not going to wholesale them on another deal. And I want them just keep asking me and asking me and asking me for business, just like our borrowers do. Take care of them, and then it's another deal, and another deal, and another deal. And all of a sudden, really, we could close down the entire operation and still close 100 to 120 deals a year doing nothing because we already have that deal flow. And my guess is, if you spent no time on buyer stuff, you could still probably wholesale 25 deals a year just in your sleep if you had the deal flow, because you have those relationships, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, and I think a lot of guys are really missing the boat. And obviously, I've kind of seen you around related to working with investors and chatting with people, and it's not just like, hey, I'm going to pitch you this crap and I'm going to sell you this crappy deal. It's like, hey, let's work together. We can help you. You may be a buyer for me. Maybe you have a deal that you negotiated, but you don't know what to do with it now, so I can help you sell it. So there's just a lot of different types of opportunities.
Yeah. So I hope we can get more. If we can do 150 deals next year, I mean, I don't know if that's possible, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, well, and also the good thing is I mean, there's not as much risk in these types of deals. I mean, I guess I think you buy some of your stuff at auction stuff, so you probably have to float a decent amount of cash at any given time. I don't know if all that stuff's all you're doing is all of them are like that, but so I guess there is some risk because you have allocated cash onto that, but. It's a little bit different than flipping. At the worst case scenario, you got a deposit on the line, or, well, actually, usually the worst case scenario is probably just break even and you sell to an investor as is. But your worst case scenario is, maybe you lose a deposit. But we've all been involved with flips that go sideways, and I mean, those can be a disaster. I mean, that's a lot of money and a lot of time on the line. So at the end of the day, having a full-scaled wholesaling operation, limits the risk a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great model. Like I said, with the rehabbing, you can get money in, but it's a lot of work. I mean, people think wholesaling is easier than flipping. And I think when you're at a low level, not a low level, but when you're doing a low volume, doing a deal or two here, it's not a ton of work. But for our business, I mean, we're trying to do a lot of deals, and it's a lot of work. I see a lot of gurus pitching guys because they want to sell them courses that hey, you can do this deal with 3 hours of work. And I'm like, yeah, maybe that one deal you got lucky, like my first deal. But I mean, you got all the deals you don't look at, it adds up, and it's a business. So I get kind of offended when guys out there are pitching stuff and saying that it's easy or it's not a lot of work. So
it's certainly not easy. I mean, we've probably wholesaled 4 deals in 10. We did our first deal, actually that was over 10 years ago because that was before I was even full-time in the business, starting this company. But we've done probably 3 or 4 wholesale deals in the last 10 years. And the only reason I did them, I know they're a ton of work. The only reason I did it is because we had an end buyer and the deal was kind of cherry-picked, and then I just kind of worked my way in the middle. And that was the only reason I was willing to even do that. And I'm glad I did because they were good. There's a lot of profit on them. We actually just did one a few months ago down in College Park. But they were kind of lucky. Like, I know the work that has to go into those as well as you do. And at the end of the day, like we talked about, someone get lucky, do a deal, great. But if you're doing that many deals consistently, there's a lot more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I mean, so obviously, like, I was gonna ask you a little bit related to some longer term goals, but I guess it's the game plan is, and again, you never really want to be involved in something that you're flying up in this direction, that's really cycly. So it's always good, kind of stay status quo. You grow at 10 or 20% a year, and you kind of go in this formation. It's, you know, a lot less risky, and, you know, the last thing you want to do is, although in a perfect world it'd be great, like to ramp up and do twice as much volume as you did, but that's a little bit unrealistic. But at the same time, you know, you do 40 wholesales, next year you do 45, and then you do 50. Like, that's a good, stable way, you know, to grow. You cut out the bottom fat of the operation, and all in all, it's a good situation.
Yeah, and when you start doing a lot of deals, I mean, when I was doing it by myself, you don't have as much overhead, and that's the thing with us trying to grow. We've got people that are, you know, helping us. I mean, we've got bills to pay. It becomes like a real business for a lot of wholesalers. I feel like it's more of a hobby, and we really enjoyed that, creating the business aspect of it. It's a real challenge for me, and it's exciting. So,
who does? You guys have bookkeepers and accountants?
I'm glad my wife isn't here.
Is that a bad question to ask?
No, it's fine, and it's actually a great question because when I was just wholesaling, you know, it was easy. I'd go through, I'd have expenses, like, you know, with some marketing expenses, and then have my assignment fees, and it was real easy. I had expenses, but as the business has grown, I haven't got the bookkeeper, and now we do, but it's a mess. And that's one thing I would tell anybody that's serious in this business is to get that. It's that little stuff. Get it off your plate as soon as possible, because once the business took off, you know, 2 years ago, and everything started getting more complicated, it's a nightmare. It's a time suck.
So that was our first hire, that was lucky hire, but that was our first hire, and, you know, we have obviously a lot of friends in common in this space, and like that is like the one, like I'm not somebody that like preaches and tells people what to do, but like that is the one thing that like you have to do, because accounting, it's either right or wrong, right? There's no this or this. It's either right or wrong. And we got the philosophy of, if you can't count your money, you can't be in business. If you don't know how much money you're making, you don't be in the business. And keep in mind, when you were doing wholesaling, it was good and easy, because wholesaling's income and expense, but then all of a sudden you take ownership of properties and there's asset and liability, and that's where it gets really, really, really complicated. So that's good that you kind of outsource, or she's working on that. And after you have a good system in place, it's great because you can ramp, but that is a hard thing to get in place.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying my wife's doing it. I was saying I'm glad she's not here, because she went through all of it with taxes, and she's ready to kill me.
Everyone does that, because everyone, I mean, the problem is accounting and business don't really go hand in hand with real estate. So all of us are like, yeah, it's fine. This is what it is. And everyone's like, and then the CPA is like, no, that is not what it means. And most CPAs are not business friendly, and they know business, they know real estate, they know all these things. Like, they know what they're doing, but they don't know how to communicate that with you, and it's very challenging.
Yeah.
So we've all been through it.
Getting anxiety just talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's important. I mean, listen, as business owners, you know, the financial outcome of your business is the top priority. So, I mean, and that's what counts it. So, you know, the takeaway, like we just talked about, is it's good that all real estate investors have that in line, because it is important. Even if someone has to go spend 6 months and clean it up and, you know, take a step back, you're going to take 10 steps forward after you're done. So, okay. Would you say that, if you could define Terry Royce, would you say that, let's fast forward to retirement, and we're probably right around the same age, but let's say, like, your retirement, like, do you think you're just going to grind and be like, I'm never retiring, I love work and blah, 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 blah? Or do you think it's like, hey, I got a good wholesaling machine going, I've got people running it, I've got good passive income on that, I've got some rental properties, I'm out. Like, I'm out. I'm living at a beach or something like that. Like, which one are you, or are you somewhere in between?
That's a tough question. I'd like to think I'm both, which probably means I'm in between, but I love the grind. Like, I love just crushing a deal, because when I get a deal that everybody else either passed on or missed on, and we just kill it, I'm like, man, I just smoked everybody. And I'm not to sound like I have a big ego, but we got to have some ego in this. It's fine. I feel like I outsmarted everybody, and that is an amazing feeling when you get a deal and you know that they've had other offers or whatever, and you just it works out, or you see something that other people don't. So I get a big kick in that. It's a big big part of the business. But my wife and I, for anybody watching this, that I might be friends with on Facebook or Instagram, we love to travel, and we've been trying to, along with, you know, creating more of the business rather than making it a hobby, we're trying to detach more and more. I mean, my wife would really like to go abroad for like 3 months at a time as kind of a, and let the business run itself. And we just went away to Italy for 3 weeks, and that was kind of like a detaching thing. And then we're actually going to Florida for the entire month of February. And part of that is trying to live abroad, or, Florida's not abroad, obviously, but live away from the business and try to get it to run itself. So, I would like to just walk away and live on the beach and hang out. And that would, I'd probably be happy, but I love doing deals. I mean, I really like the business, and it can be stressful, but
Got it.
So a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both is probably, not that there's a right or wrong answer, but I was thinking, like, mentally, if you're mentally prepared for it, it's like, when you're here, I'm going to grind, and when I'm not here, I'm not grinding. Because what else are you going to do? Like, if you're in town, and you're not traveling, it's like, hey, when I'm here, I'm going to grind, and when I'm not here, I'm going to not be here, literally be out. But, and also the good part about, I think, come to think about it, and I don't know many people that have a large wholesaling company. I just don't. I mean, I've, know Vina pretty well in Cincinnati, and like, besides her, like, again, I don't really know anyone that does that many transactions. But I guess one benefit from thinking about it is, because there is a little bit less risk than flipping properties, you can automate it a little bit if you need to.
Yeah.
Right? Or you can put some role players in place. And in a lot of businesses, it's hard to put a role player in place. The high level activities, like, you still have to kind of be in. And I don't know exactly how your process is when you go bid on a property at auction, if you can automate that, but that's good that you can get away. I mean, if you can get away for 3 weeks, that's definitely a good start.
Yeah, no, it's a tough business to automate, but it's a numbers business. So we've, whether we're sending out mailers or, bidding online on a Hubzu deal or something, it's just coming up with procedures and formulas for everything. While we don't have that in place perfectly yet, we're working on it. I'm pretty sure it's a constant, constant thing to refine it, but we're trying to do that. And, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a big challenge. It's, like I said, it's stressful, but every day, every week we get a little bit closer and figure out something. A lot of stuff we screw up, and that's kind of how you figure it out too. But yeah, I think it's you can automate it, but it's a hands-on business. So I think it's tough to fully step away from it. But I think you can just pull yourself out of a lot of things. Trying to figure that out is.
And I think if you can outsource 90% of it, then we can all handle 10%. It's not a huge deal. And I think that's probably to sum up that your answer. Cool. So what's the best way for everyone to reach you?
Yeah, you can. I'm obviously online, social media. My Facebook is pretty easy to remember. It's facebook.com/fliphouses. It's my personal site. I got that right when Facebook.
Yeah, that's a good handle.
Claimed that real estate. But we have a blog that we're getting ready to relaunch. We've been working on it. Find, fund, and spelled out the word flipdeals.com. That's find, fund, and flip deals.com. And we're going to try to put out a lot more information on just, wholesaling and what's going on in our business, and just try to help put out some information for people to, see what we're doing, and maybe they'll learn something off of it, and just have a way for people to connect with us too. I get a lot of people that reach out to me for coaching, and I'm not really doing that at the moment. I have done a little bit of it in the past, but I enjoy helping other people in the business. It's a great way to connect with people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, so just quick recap. Terry Royce from Baltimore, Maryland. He's, a really well-known, good wholesaler here. Handles Baltimore, Howard County, Harford County, Anne Arundel County. He'd probably be willing to go to PG County, DC area. I'm sure as you expand, you do all that. But certainly reach out to him. I can personally, although Terry and I don't know each other that well, I can personally vouch for him because I've actually bought properties from him, kind of indirectly over the years, and a lot of them worked out really well. So he definitely has some good opportunities. So if you're looking to buy a property, definitely get on his buyer's list. If you need just help from him, and maybe you have a deal under contract and you don't know what to do with, I'm sure he'd be more than willing to help you and maybe figure out a way to structure it that he could help with something, right? So certainly reach out to him, and as always, Terry, I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I really appreciate you having me on, Jason, and just talking a little bit about what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, man.
Thank you.